Hi friends, welcome to another homeschool curriculum review from Gina Mayo of musicinourhomeschool.com. If you haven't met me before, I am a homeschooling mom of 8, so I have homeschooled for over 20 years, and today we're talking about Dr. J. Weil's Discovering Design with Earth Science, and this is a great curriculum for 8th grade or 9th grade. So middle school or early high school would be wonderful for this curriculum. I'm going to show you the textbook. It's a nice hardcover textbook, and the answer key and test booklet that you get, and also the science roots that come with it. So let's get started. All right, with the textbook, I just want to glance through it with you so that you can see how it works. You've got an introduction here that explains there are 16 chapters. You do about 2 weeks per chapter, so you can finish this in about 32 weeks. And there are experiments that go along with it. This is the table of contents. Let me show you things that you'll be learning in this book, this Earth Science curriculum. So you've got basic concepts related to earth science, the crust, topsoil, weathering. Then chapter 3 is about minerals. 4 is about rocks. 5, the lithosphere. 6, motion in the lithosphere. 7 is fossils and rocks. Then you've got 8, interpreting the geological record. And this is a Christian-based book. J. Weil is a Christian, but it does talk about everything you need to truly understand what the scientific world in general believes about the Earth too. But it talks about radioactive decay and Earth's history according to uniformitarians, catastrophism and the worldwide flood, the young Earth Christianist view, and then you've got evolution, just understanding how evolution and the ideas about it relate. So this one is Chapter 9, Uniformitarianism versus Catastrophism. Chapter 10, Water and the Hydrosphere. 11 is more on the hydrosphere. 12 is the atmosphere. Then you've got 13 and 14 about weather, and 15 is our solar system, and 16 more about the solar system and the universe. Before we look at what a chapter looks like, let's go ahead and skip over to the back of the book and show you what you've got there as far as resources. So let me find the end of chapter 16. You have a glossary. So I find this really helpful for science curriculum to have a glossary that gives you each of the words that the students need to learn and the definition. And these are definitions that are great for 8th and 9th graders. You see how short they are, easy for them to memorize, and he does want them to memorize certain things in science to really give them a good background for it. Then you've got Appendix A is tables, figures, and information for reference. Some really nice colored photos here, diagrams, the plates of the earth, geological column. So this is what people would believe if they were evolutionists versus creationists. And water, the hydrosphere, the pH scale here, electromagnetic spectrum. Then you've got something that's extremely helpful is the experiment supplies that are needed for each chapter. So you could just get each of these items. They're not really difficult to find, like Play-Doh, active dry yeast, plastic bags, hydrogen peroxide, some things you might just need to go to the store to buy, M&M candies, or you can order a box from Berean Builders. So go to bereanbuilders.com. Berean is spelled, there it is, bereanbuilders.com. And you can order a box of the supplies, or you can just get them yourself. So you can see they're easy things: butter, kitchen tongs, pill bottles, a straw. Then you've got your index. So again, this is super helpful in a textbook like this to have an index so you can look up to where you'd find certain things within the chapters. Now let's go back to a chapter so you can see how that works. let me find the beginning of chapter 10. Here we go. So this is what it looks like when you're reading through, and he tells you in this book how much you should do each day. When you get to an experiment, he recommends that you go ahead and stop and do the experiment right then. However, if you are doing this in a school or a homeschool co-op, it might be helpful to do the experiments all at once, like once a week or so. And then he recommends that you do the experiments prior to reading them. That way it's better for the comprehension for the students. So you're reading through, and when you get to comprehension check, you should write this down in your notebook and answer it and make sure you're understanding things. And that's it for the day. Then the next day, you'll start with the next one. When you have things that are in bold like this, he wants you to make sure you understand the definition of that, because that'll probably be on the test. Here's something else that he wants to make sure you know: equilibrium, the state of balance between two opposing actions. And now we're up to the fourth experiment for this particular chapter. Nice that it has photos throughout, and it just helps you understand when you're seeing it visually. But I do want to tell you that in addition to what you see in the textbook, there is a link that you can go to that gives you some videos that you can watch that he has picked out that go along with the concepts. So that is helpful if you have a student who is more visual. They can watch those videos and actually see some of this in action. Sometimes it's the experiment itself, or other times it's more like actually seeing, let me go back to that one picture that we just saw, seeing the food coloring dropped into the glass, so you could see that on the video. Okay, comprehension test, another experiment. Let me see if I get toward the end of this chapter. And so once you get to the end of the chapter, you've got the comprehension check answers right here. It's right in the textbook, so you can make sure that you understood that. Then you've got your chapter review. The answers to the chapter review are not in the textbook, so you could make a copy and work on the chapter review. And then you will go into this book that has the chapter review answers. So you'll want to go through this with your student to make sure that they are understanding the concepts, that they got correct answers, or if they didn't, that now they understand it and they'll be ready for the test. Because the next page has the test. Again, you'll probably want to make a copy of this. He says you can make a copy. The owner is free to make a copy. And then the answers on the very next page. That's why you'll probably want to make a copy. Then you can check the answers here. At the beginning of this book, there's some information for the teacher, the homeschool mom or the teacher, to know how to do grading, how to help your students through different things like doing the experiments or the comprehension questions, chapter review, etc., and the course website where you can get those videos I was talking about. So this book only has chapter review answers, the blank tests, and the test answers. So that is what's in this book. Well, you get one more thing that is recommended with this curriculum, and that's the Science Roots guide. It's a fun way to learn about the roots that are very helpful for science. This one perfectly goes along with the biology textbook, which is what you would do after earth science, probably, if you're going in that order that he recommends. You might do earth science in 8th grade and biology in 9th grade. But this gives you the directions on how to use this book to learn the different roots. And then it has a list of all the ones you're going to learn. Games, of course, to review them. Here is the list of what you're learning, like meta, omni, hetero, herb, troph. All of these are super helpful. If you memorize what the root means, you'll understand the words so much better, all the scientific vocabulary that you need. You'll understand it better. This is a great book to go along with any of the science that you're doing. Another thing I wanted to let you know that you can get along with this curriculum, if you don't want to do it with just the book, they have online pre-recorded courses that go along with the book. So a teacher teaching it, and they're already pre-recorded. So you can purchase those from BereanBuilders.com. Or if you want to do a live class, they have coordinated with another site that has teachers that teach through the curriculum. So if you need a live teacher, if that's more helpful for your student, that is available too. I really like this curriculum. I think this is great. If you're looking for earth science, or even any of the high school biology, chemistry, and physics, this is a wonderful way to do it. So I recommend you check out BereanBuilders.com. Thanks. Bye-bye.